Is up, everybody? My name is Dane Thompson. Welcome back to another episode of BurnDown. And I figured, because I'm still struggling with this guy, that I'll bring you guys along, kind of show you, because otherwise we're going to get a little far ahead for those of you that are into this project. So, I got to run, and I was going to bring you guys along, but I was pretty kind of stressed. I've been trying to thrash on it, because as you know, we're leaving pretty much in a couple days to go camping. So I took it on the freeway for the first time. We took it out, washed it the other night. We were driving it, and I got on the freeway, and the lockup didn't work. So I'm like, oh, that's a bummer. And then the transmission temp that the Holly was reading, which is line temp, it's not like the pan temp, got up over 200, and it ended up at like 220. And I pulled over and sat in a parking lot with the family for, I don't know, probably 30-45 minutes before it came down. And then I just limped it home real quick, and I was like, man, that's not going to do, because we drove around and we got on the freeway. So I was like, I'm gonna get a trans cooler. So we put a big trans cooler in. Then I was cruising around yesterday, and it seemed to do better. It got up around like 200, and I'm like, man, this thing is just cooking itself. I wonder what's going on. And then I figured out lockup. I called my buddy Ryan. He's got specs my converters. He knows 480s pretty well. So my exhaust is really close to the pan, and he was like, you got an air gap that contributes. He's like, but that's probably not it. He's like, you may have another issue. And he was like, it needs to be like 180, 190 driving around unlocked, and then locked up, it should cool off. So I was able to get back on the freeway yesterday after I installed the cooler. I got lockup figured out, and I got to lock up, and it was like 190, then the lockup kicked in, and then the temp started going down. And he also informed me that line temp is fresh out of the pump, and then that's what kicks out into the cooler. So that is the hottest point, the hottest temp point in the transmission. So that's the hot fluid going out, and then whatever you're cooling, that's going back into the pan. So today, that's a long way to say, I'll show you guys the cooler we installed. You're probably gonna yell at me because it's up underneath the Winnebago, but so is the Malibu, and this thing did Rocky Mountain Race Week. Yes, we had transmission issues if you watched, but overheating, it actually wasn't one of them. So the cooler in this is smaller than this one, but I figured since we're moving a house and we're gonna try a tow, I got the biggest one my guys had. I may put a secondary one on there if I need to for towing, and then I want to get an oil cooler too. Like, I just want to load this thing up kind of like a diesel with all the cooling possible to give it a chance to live, so I don't have to mess with this or work on it. So also we installed a temperature sensor, and I just went and got a gauge. I was going to try to hook it up through the Holly, but I don't really have a regular dash, and I was like, dude, I don't want to fudge this. I just want something that's accurate because we're leaving soon. So eventually we'll get a dash and all that fun stuff. So let me jump under here, I'll show you. So that is this. Cut it out. Yeah, I know this looks dirty. It was actually really clean inside the pan. I was really excited. Oh, speaking of which, since we're under here, see, I knew there was a reason. Oh, I crawled under here. This dude. There. Ha. Whew, almost forgot that guy. So, somebody punched this in here. I think this is the actual drain, but you can see it's up. It doesn't get all the fluid out. So somebody popped that hole. So I used it. I'm like, oh, that's cool. They put a drain right there. And then I realized it's just sheet metal, like barely screwed in. So we put some silicone on the back, let it dry up, and gave it the old heave-ho. And then cut a hole in this. I got a nut. And yes, this is MPT, but this is a 10-1, like it's an ultra fine thread. And this actually screws in pretty well. So punched a hole, welded it up, made sure it cleared. The filter is like right here, it ends like right here, so it doesn't interfere with any of that, and we should be in fluid. It's a little high up, but I mean, if that's not in fluid, we have bigger issues. I will show you guys. We went to extreme measures, put some gold tape on here, and this is what is super close. So ultimately, if I still have issues, we kept it true duals all the way back. I will just eliminate this one. So we will just knock it down to a single here, and then we could probably do it back in a dual so it's super quiet, but we'll just eradicate this boy here. We'll see how she does. We're gonna go on a test drive. So first I'm gonna, basically it's gold tape. If the thing works, it's gold tape. Let's go inside. Oh man, oh man. So the gauge came from like O'Reilly. It was just whatever they had. Had to take the seat out so I can get onto the wiring. So it's just this dude, and technically it's a water temperature gauge, but it's fine. And we're looking to be that dot between, or the dash between the 160 and 200. Would really like to be there. 200 isn't the end of the world. When it starts getting past that, bad things happen. And then I changed my little indicator light from yellow to red because this was super bright at night, so I guess red light is supposed to be better at night. It doesn't mess with your eyes so bad. So that is that. Let's put some fluid in. There's nothing in the pan, so we'll put fluid in. I've got a multitude of different fluid over there. We're just going to stuff all that in here and get the fluid up, put the seat and all the stuff back in, and then it's like 90 degrees, maybe a little hotter, which is perfect weather to go driving around in this thing to make sure it cools itself. So, oh, speaking of cooling, so if you're wondering, you know, there's a good gap right here. So it's probably like a 4-inch gap, and then there's nothing above it. And this is actually pulling down. So that way if there's water and stuff coming, it's not sucking it into the deal. And then obviously this stops the airflow, but it is what it is. I think the other thing too, there's, if I put a piece of sheet steel or maybe even cut into this a little bit around it, air will actually follow that. So we'll see, but we'll see how she does. She seemed to work fine the other day. That's all my wiring action. Got on a relay. The Holly controls this off a line temp. So when line temp reaches a certain temperature, it kicks this. And like I said, I was panicking because I thought, there's my tank. I thought that the line temp was the actual temp, but it's the hottest temperature in the transmission. So let's put some fluid in, drive around and worry. That's what we seem to do these days. We got transmission fluid in here, whatever it is. And we're pretty well ready to go. I found these the other day. They are pineapple Perrier things. Oh my gosh, they're so tasty. I'm gonna take one of those for the road. And then I'm just gonna do laps, kind of like neighborhood street driving. That way the lockup doesn't work, because I just want to see if she gets warm. So, fired up. We'll cruise around a bit, and I'll kind of show you guys where we're at. And I really don't have anywhere to go, so we're just gonna drive around in circles like an idiot. I'm Winnebago. Why not? That's what you do on a Tuesday, right? All right, and we're off. The other thing you probably noticed, if you've seen any of these videos before, it's not making a bunch of racket. It's because the tires are round instead of square, so it's not ka-da. I mean, we're hitting some pretty good bumps. My roads are crap. It's awesome. Although the brakes do squeak now since I serviced them, so that's awesome. And yeah, let's just mosey on this way, shall we? So I got my gauges hooked up here, and then my new trans temp, and then my fuel gauge. I also had a fuel leak, but it was the vent tube, because I have a tank out of an avalanche, and it has this weird vent tube that like branches off, so I put rubber like couplers over it. Well, the fuel fumes, probably 85, ate those things and they fell off. So when I was filling up the other day, I was puking fuel. I'm like, oh man, what now? So I got a piece of hose, which I guess isn't much better, but we'll have to get vinyl or whatever so 85 doesn't eat it. But we'll be on 91 probably for the trip anyway, so we tackled that too. So let's cruise around. Trans Temp 107. We'll see if they match, but I'll keep an eye on the road, keep you guys posted. I don't know what you boys want to see. Let's get this thing, we'll put her on the freeway, we'll go down and exit, and then I'll show you. I think lockup works. And then she cruises along a little over $2,000 at like 60. About 60 is good too, by the way. It's kind of does one of these, whoop, whoop. But I don't have any rear shocks right now because they're still in the backyard. We're working on it though, slow progress. Also, thank you to everybody that's left comments about the roof sealing and all that stuff. I really am a greenhorn when it comes to this stuff. I have no idea what I'm doing. We're just out here trying to have a good time, trying to live some life. So, all right, we caught a red light, and we'll jump on with this Acura, and then that will really kick our line temp up because we're only at 125. So, let me save the camera because the camera's gonna die, but our gauge down there is not even registering yet. You gotta open her up for the ramp. 132, so little hill. Give her a little bit of juice. I don't want to get too crazy. Alright, we're just riding 39, 40, 42. Yeah, we're not really pushing it. We'll just cruise. See if we can get the lockup to engage. I forget what's. Damn, it's already on, dude. We didn't even merge yet. Lockup was like, nope. 136 line temp. Lockup on, 54, 55. 1900 RPM. 56. Yeah, we're not even at $2,000 at 57. Whoa! Alright, so. Yeah. 58, 59. There we go. 60 miles an hour. $2,000, lock up, 140 line temp. The trans temp ain't even moving the gauge, but it's working, so we're not even up to 160. So, feeling pretty good about this. We'll jump off the next exit, we'll do a little more street driving, see if we can get her hotter. Alright, here we're at round 2. I just drove around. I got a fresh drink, because I drank that one. It's freaking hot in here. We're at 184, 185, and my gauge down here is reading similar, which is kind of funny. So I was thinking line temp would be a lot hotter than tan temp, but apparently they're kind of like the same dude. But I had it parked, I just left it running, so we'll run around some more and just see how she does. Like I said, it's 90, it's over 90 today, so it's a good test right now to cruise around and then do all this low speed driving. I think is really where it kind of heats the thing up. Once it locks up, the thing doesn't climb anymore heat-wise. Obviously, if we were like on a hill or something, possibly if it starts slipping. But then it's just engine temp at that point. The engine seems to be running decent. It gets warm, but it cools off. I mean, this is to be expected. You're towing a house around, so we seem to hit about. We'll go up to almost 200. I'd see where I had the fan set, but it's down to like 195, and the fans are shutting off. So. Everything seems to be working. I'll get cruising around. I'll let you guys know we're at 187, and that gauge is pretty much the same as what that gauge is saying. That's not good because we got the thing up pretty hot the other day. Let's keep rolling. 188. Yeah, it just slowly creeps up, dude. This is 188. It'll be 190 before you know it. Alright, we'll keep messing with it. Alright, we're 194. We're gonna jump on the freeway again. 95. So I'll just go down the exit again and we'll see. We'll lock up if the thing starts cooling back down. Or if it just stays all hot. So this is all kind of flat ground stuff, so on the hills it would be like so we'll see how she does. We'll jump back on the freeway again. Alright, here we go. Here we go, boys. Rocky Mountain Racing already. We're 209. So on the freeway locked up, it actually will start going down in temp. But once it gets all heat soaked and you drive it around town, I think it's just because this thing's so heavy, it just is not excited about it. So we'll cruise it back home. I wonder if I could lock it up earlier. Yeah, 209, 210. Like if I could lock it up in third gear going slow, keep heat out of it, but I don't know. We'll see how hot she is by the time she gets home. It's 210 right now. All right, it is way after hours. I was doing test drive stuff earlier. It was 90-something degrees out. It's still pretty warm now, but I was looking at this thing and I was like, man, it's just not working. So I was messing with it in the driveway and I was playing with the tune, and I thought maybe because of the stock converter, my idle's a little bit high, so I brought the idle down a little bit because I was like, maybe that's making heat. I wrapped the exhaust. I was like, at least we can try that before I get in there and cut all the stuff out. And then I was looking at the fan. I was like, you know what? I have it on a pull, so it's behind basically a piece of sheet steel, and then I had it sucking air down instead of taking like hot air off the road or whatever. And I was like, you know what if that fan's just not efficient, or how it's in there, just the pocket that is created by that square like space. There's no airflow or air movement, so with it sucking down, it literally is just in like stagnant air. So I flipped the fan around because it can push or pull, so now it is pushing air. So it seems to push air and it makes a bunch more air, so I've idled it forever and it wouldn't climb, so if I just like unplugged the fan, I let it get up pretty hot, and then I plugged it in, and then magically we started going the right direction, which is down instead of up. So I've got some wind in my sail now because I was like, man, nothing is working. This is just not happening. So I think between the wrap and then it pushing, the airflow just seems better from that fan. However, this thing is mounted. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna make a little scoop with this, and basically it'll be like the shape of a wing, and then we'll screw it onto the flat panel, and I'll show you guys. It'll basically like make a tail on that flat panel, and then the air coming underneath the coach will actually follow that, and it'll shoot it up into the cooler itself. So idling, it started to go down, which it has not done, so we were moving in the right direction. So I'll put that little flip up on it. We're kind of screwed now because the temperature is getting cooler, but we'll rig that up, we'll put it on there, we'll take a drive around. Obviously with cooler ambient temperatures, you know, we should be good. And then I also learned that with the turbos and everything sitting here, with this thing just literally sitting, it starts getting pretty warm. It doesn't like that at all. I mean, obviously extended idle, like, so this thing is probably not a good traffic goer. So we are definitely probably gonna have to hook up some sort of either water sprayer. I thought about possibly like turning this, but I don't know. We'll see how we go. But as soon as you move, boom, the temps come down. So you know, it's just that those are building up heat right in front of the radiator, and it's pulling hot air through it. But I know you guys were probably like, I told you so, but it's like I said, as soon as you move, it's fine. It's just, you know, she's not gonna be good to go to LA and back, I guess. So all right, well, let me make this little flippy deal. We'll mount it up. I gotta wire the fans permanently the way that I just have them screwed in. I guess I could show you. I just have a clip. I just flipped it through the relay and then clipped it, so now it's spinning the opposite direction. So now it's pushing air that way, and it seems to do a lot better. And then this is that flat piece I was talking about. When the air is going, it just makes a stagnant pocket, and then that thing trying to suck the air this way, when it makes that stagnant pocket, I think it just doesn't work at all when the thing was rolling. So now we'll be sucking air this way, there'll be air movement, and then I'm gonna make a little tail off of this that flips up like that. And then when the air hits it, it'll follow it like a wing, and it's gonna push it up in there. So we are hoping for the best. If this thing will cool like this, we are good to go, but it is not good enough to tow, I don't think at all. So we will probably double that. I'll probably put another one of those big dogs on there, and I'm gonna do an oil cooler, probably run oil, and then maybe even like a power steering. We'll just cool this mamma jamma down, because I just want to go and not worry about it, and I want to drive up mountains and not have the thing overheat. So we'll show you the flippy do. I'll take it for a drive, even though the ambient temperatures aren't great because it's not 90-something degrees now, but if it'll cool at least in this weather, we are making progress, finally. It is completely dark outside. It is way too late for me to be playing around on a school night. Granted, I think this is kind of priority because I don't want to roll my family out in the middle of nowhere and have this thing have a bunch of issues and just be miserable. So the good news is the cooling is going the right direction now instead of the wrong direction. So that is a positive. When I'm rolling and it's locked up, we are money. You know, the temperature comes out of the motor. It was running like 193, give or take. It'd fluctuate a little bit, but the fans would kick off and it would just, you know, the air moving through it would cool it. And then we started off, I jumped on the freeway at like 180 something, like almost 190, and then it actually cooled down, and I drove a couple miles, and it was dropping as I was driving, which is phenomenal. But as soon as I jumped off, it starts creeping up again, and then I drove back down again, and then same thing, it cooled off again. So everything's gravy when you're rolling, but when I'm going slow, this thing is just unhappy with going slow. So it's got to be a lack of airflow or whatever. So the only logical thing that I can figure, the other good news too, is when it sits in the driveway and idles, the engine doesn't like it because the turbos sit right up front, but the engine will run hot, but it will idle and it will cool itself. It gets to about 2 and some change. But the transmission actually goes down now when you idle. It just doesn't come down fast enough. Like it's like it'll click 1, and then you wait, and then it clicks 1. So obviously, as soon as you put a load on it, it doesn't like it. So unless you have a lot of air movement, doing 60 miles an hour locked up. So my best college try, my best guess is we're gonna add another cooler with the fan on it because I already have the relay and all the stuff underneath. The fans are small. I think the line that I have feeding it will hold the load of 2 of those fans, I'm hoping. So we'll see. What is it, like 8-inch? Little 8-inch fan? So anyway, I'm gonna get another relay, another smaller cooler, probably like the same size as the ones on the car. Not quite as big as this one, but this one gets it going in the right direction, and I feel a second one would really, you know, kick it into overdrive and the thing would cool. And we got to tow at some point. And I was like, oh, I'll have to add one, but you know what? We'll just throw it on there now. Peace of mind, if I can drive around the heat and idle and just watch this thing, you know, go down in the dirt, we are good. So the engine temps are good. We'll just get this transmission under control. Now it's going the right way. I feel much better, but man, I feel like it's Rocky Mountain Race Week all over again, man. Except we're taking this thing and driving slow again, and it's always something. You guys, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, share. Till next time, I'm out.